Yeah. When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you were in the championship rounds, and this one's a little different, ladies and gentlemen. I'm changing some things up. You gotta keep your game well rounded, right? Can't be a headhunter, can't do too much body work, can't do too much shadow boxing, can't do too much cardio. You have to have your game completely well rounded. Something I was doing before was the Women's Boxing Wednesday feature, and I love it. I'm very passionate about women's boxing. And so I decided to kind of extract that series from the championship rounds episodes and kind of just go at it and giving it its own feature. So, since this is the pioneer episode, the first episode of the Women's Boxing Wednesday feature, pardon me, I'm going to feature a pioneer in the sport. And I'm talking about one Christy Martin, the coal miner's daughter out of West Virginia. Christy Martin fought from 1989 to 2012. Her only layoffs was like in 2004 and 2008, couple months at a time. We'll get to why that may have happened, but 49-7, three draws, 32 KOs. Again, starting in 1989, where there was not a lot going on in women's boxing professionally. Um, I think her explosion happened around the Mike Tyson era. She was featured along with another attraction, if you will, Butterbean. So, and this was a male fighter, but my point is that she was not given a lot of showcase as far as being the main event, her own pay-per-views. She was almost always featured on a Mike Tyson undercard, which made it exciting because she was a very exciting fighter. And so with the pioneers, one of the issues is kind of the depth of competition. So during her time, she had at least six fights of those 47 fights where there was repeat opponents, and I mean two or three of them they might have fought three or four times. Whether the fights were exciting and they had to do that because those were the names that were available, which is a lot of the logic behind that, or also just because they had to get that out. It- you know it happens that way. Matchmaking was very sparse back then, so in order to build her career, they did what they had to do. Now there are some very notable wins. So I didn't make it clear, she generally fought at um super 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 featherweight. So what, 130? That's what she generally fought at. But she jumped up different divisions to make good fights happen, and she carried the title, the WBC title, might I add, at the 100 or super welterweight division. So that's 154 pound for the ladies. So yeah, she's done some business. She is a world champion as well. And again, like I said, for those notable fights, she's got losses in these fights, but to Mia St. John, another pioneer fighter out of LA, Layla Ali, we know who that is, and she jumped up two to three divisions to get that fight. And Layla did what she had to do. And Holly Holm. Now we know Holly Holm is again as another pioneer, but can you imagine Christy Martin being one of the pioneers that had given Holly Holm her start in this thing of ours? So pay attention. Um, she's also Christy Martin. That is, she is the first woman. When they became eligible in the year 2020, the first woman elected to the International Boxing Hall of Fame out in Canastota, New York. So yeah, she has a lot of credibility when it comes to this sport. So much so now she's got Christy Martin Promotions. I believe they're based out of South Carolina, but man, just doing a lot of great things for the sport. And when she was at it, again, 54% KO ratio. She had 32 knockouts. Christy Martin was totally about that action in the ring. Now, if you're in for the more salacious side of it, she had a documentary on Netflix a few years ago. I think it's called Untold, Deal with the Devil. Gives you all the backstory. Shorty party like a rock star for real, for real. And those are some of the nuances, some of those experiences outside of the ring that give character to what happens with a fighter or to a fighter inside the ring. So these are things we want to pay attention to. And like I said, I think it's important for me to get this feature, this Women's Boxing Wednesday feature, kind of give it its own platform. There's so much happening in and with women's boxing. I don't want it to get smothered in some of the other stuff. So here I am presenting this one to you, ladies and gentlemen. Another jewel. Please go do your research. Go back on YouTube since you're already here watching this one. Go watch some footage, right? Watch the Layla Ali and Christy Martin fight if you want to, but just go back and do your homework, and I'm gonna give you many more of these, nice, short and sweet, so you can get your knowledge, go back and do your research, and come back for more. All right. King, I mean, of Essex, right? You know where I'm at on IG, on Twitter, and right here in these championship rounds.